Good evening. I would like to call the Clover Garden School Board of Directors meeting for November 12th, 2024 at 6:34 p.m. Break in the role and mission of the board.
We are trusted to care for the current school and stay focused on the vision for the future school. No trust, no unity, no progress. Mission of Clever Garden School will foster community, generate enthusiasm, challenge students academically, produce successful citizens.
Thank you. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda for this evening? Any additions, questions? I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Ms. Merle, second. Mr. Russell? All in favor? And then we have 2 minutes that we have to review and approve. Everyone had a chance to review those October 15th and October 21st minutes. Any questions? Update. Do I have a motion to approve the October 15th and October 21st, 2024 minutes? Ms. Merle, second. Ms. Gould, all in favor? Any public comments tonight, Ms. Berrigan? So that moves us on to finances, the October 2024 vote or budget for vote. Ms. Simmons, any statements for the budget?
Just that I could look up the hearing. October.
Everybody had a chance to review that budget. Their questions. Do I have a motion to approve the October 2024 budget? Ms. Merle, second. Mr. Young, all in favor? Thank you. That takes us to the principal's update. Ms. Spencer and Dr. Morris. Good evening.
So for this one, we also started with so we have two like shout outs. One to thank you for recognize our things that came out last month for our campus. This was the area of focus as well as the playground for launching. So we had focus, covering the walls, and they were super excited to jump in, but also wanting to come back and bring them to do this thing. So that was, really a great experience. About two of our teachers. Okay, so we had two teachers that received the Bright Ideas grants. They were receiving some of these grants for their classrooms, and it is this dollar and this so they are going to be receiving a nice little check to help them with creativity, which for their ideas.
That's great.
Also, by way of our we will not further that the person hamburger sticks and is interested on come up and talk to us about some of the what great.
But I'm just Chandler. I've seen you already, but he's out. I'm late for fourth grade. Is my second year in fourth grade. Is my fifth year teaching. Fourth grade has been my jam. I really am enjoying it. It's been awesome. It's a great group this year. Got to change up some things. Having a different teammate this year, and she's been awesome. We're gonna tell you guys a little bit about what's going on in fourth grade, the things that they've been doing lately. I don't know. Keep rolling, and if it comes up, possibly not, that's okay. So I'm gonna kind of go first about a few things we've been doing at ELA. First thing that was on the presentation is an activity I did, for Halloween. Kids ended up loving it. So what I did was they had a pumpkin and it was on paper and they had to cut out eyes and a mouth and color it, and they could decorate it however they wanted. Well, then I told them to please write a description of their pumpkin. That's all I said. Well, they turned it into me, and what they didn't know is I took their description and gave it to a student in another class, did not give them the picture of the pumpkin, but they had to recreate the pumpkin based off of the description that was given. Of course, right when I said that, some of them automatically knew. They were like, oh man, I did not really put in a lot of effort. I did not describe well. But then we've gotten them back and they've gotten to compare, what the two pumpkins look like. So it kind of taught two lessons. First one being, always put your best effort because you never know what it's gonna be. And then also how important description is. And when you are writing, making sure the details that you really want highlighted, you are going into depth with it. And it kind of touched on point of view as well in the aspect of no matter what, when we are readers, we're always going to picture things a little bit differently, no matter how it is told to us and how in detail it is. Some of them actually turned out looking very similar though, which was really cool to see. And the bottom one, he did not put a lot of description, and the pumpkins look completely different. My top two, they were some of the closest ones. They had some of the colors down. And then we talked about with the one with the rainbow, how something they could have added is which way the rainbow stripes were going. But the kids really enjoyed it. I told them we would do another one at Christmas. That way they will know this time that someone's going to be doing it and they'll put their best effort. But that was one activity. And then one other thing I wanted to highlight a little bit that I've been super excited about this year that I've done is I have started incorporating bicycle seating. We have a lot of kids and those desks can be very clunky. And so I've always wanted to involve flexible seating because I had that when I was in my internship and I saw how the kids loved it. I was honestly kind of nervous to figure out how exactly to do it. But we kind of slowly added in more a little at a time, and I was able to get rid of 10 desks in my room. And I have a system where they rotate through, and it has worked great with the kids. They love it. I have done a couple check-ins with them, like, how do you think it's going? Any suggestions? And all of them, they're like, it's nice to be at my desk. It's a little comfier. So I'm hoping to add more in, but that's just, it's something that I'm super excited about this year. And that is it for Taylor.
Good evening, I'm Ms. Dix, Bridget Dix. This is my third year at Clover Guard, my third year teaching, and my third year in fourth grade. I started out in science and social studies. Last year started out in science and social studies, and then at the end of the year, we realized that our kiddos need some more math support. So I pushed in and started doing some additional support in math, and then I took over the math role this year. Sorry, next slide. You can kind of see in the background some of the pictures. At the last year's board meeting, I talked about the whiteboards that I had put up around the room. It is from a program that I've researched and implemented. It's called Creating Thinking Classrooms. I'm actually going to a math conference this Thursday and Friday, and they have some additional sessions about this. So I'm excited to kind of dive more into it and see even more ways that I can use those boards and get the students up around the room, working together. They really like it, and it gives us a chance to give them some additional challenges, not just our regular book work, but some things that still involve math and make them use their numbers, but they have to think critically about it, and they work together. And I love any chance to work together, like, is this partner work, is this partner work, are we working in groups? So any chance I can give them to do that, they enjoy that. This year, we all know, has kind of been still a transition year, so we've had positive things, we've had some struggles. One of the positive things are, I'm really pleased with our check-in scores that we got. Our mean percent correct for fourth grade was 60.8%. And then we had 51.5% proficient. And that is a huge growth from last year's check-ins. So I'm like, okay, something's going in the right direction. We've got them working it already. Already is our main curriculum that we're using this year. One of the struggles that we have this year, so Reagan, don't kill me. We don't have one-to-one computer usage this year in fourth grade, and they've heard me talk about it all year. I'm like, we need computers, because I've shared with them when we had computers, it wasn't just, okay, they're on computers. We use computers for a lot of different resources. We use them to have regular classroom instruction with already, to have more practice in there. Already, if you're not familiar with it, it also tests the students and it puts them on their math path. So that checks to see where they are, their own grade level, they're above grade level, they're below grade level. And then it gives them assignments based on where they're at to help grow and fill in those gaps. Last year, we were able to have students on our average of about 30 minutes each day. This year, because of our limited use, we're at about 15 minutes per week. So that is something we're trying to find more ways to work in, more ways to do some small groups. We have one computer cart that we're sharing between the three of us. And then some kids that don't have me for den are getting very little. So we've talked amongst ourselves. I've talked to a couple other parents, maybe potential fundraising opportunities. I've talked to Ms. Simmons, and I know that the cost of computers is astronomical. But even if we could potentially get some refurbished ones, even if we didn't have a full class set, just to get some more in there. So we're trying to brainstorm ideas and ways that we can potentially, even if it's 5 more, 10 more, 15 more, even if it's not brand new ones, ways that we can get some of these resources. Because in addition to already, last year, some other external resources I've used were Bottle, FlashLearn, Prodigy, Dreamscape. A lot of these are more fun websites for the kids where they're still getting the content and the practice, but it's kind of like a game to them, or they have to read a passage to answer questions for the ELA portion. They have to answer math problems correctly so that they can progress and they get to compete against their friends. I also use 99 Math and Happy Numbers to build the fluency. When we were working on quiz prep and EOG prep, I use things like quizzes, look at Kahoot, Study Island. Once we get the check-in scores back, I can kind of see who is excelling in certain standards and which standards they're struggling in. So I could go in and assign them lessons on Study Island or pull things from Common Core sheets to give them on their specific standards that they need more focus on. And there are like Common Core sheets I could do, we still do with print versions. So we're trying to find every way we can still get them exposure and get them these resources. But that is one of our biggest struggles this year. And I know in the past, people have said, how can the board help support you? So if you are here of any ways, grants, fundraisers, opportunities, pass them on to us, because we are trying to be creative so that we can get these resources in our students' hands so that they can have more of this experience, and also just computer literacy, because all of their testing is on the computers. I had one student, and I preached to them. I was like, on the check-in, if you have a question that has a comma, you don't put the comma. There's a decimal option. We're not at decimals yet. You won't use your decimals. He missed 2 questions because he put the decimal in the comma place. He was 2 questions away from being proficient. So the more practice they get with that technology, then we don't have things like that slip up when we get to the EOGs. So just trying to get them that experience, that exposure, not only for this year, but to get them ready for 5th grade and then middle school coming as well. So, like, so we've got our strengths and our struggles. We're working through them. We're still finding ways to give them other resources. But if you do have opportunities that could help us in that area, we would greatly appreciate you passing on anything to us that we could look into. that might
Chelsea Yearsley, or Mrs. Yearsley. This is my first year in 4th grade. I teach social studies and science. My 2nd year teaching here at Clover Garden. Science and social studies is kind of like the great subject. You get to do all the fun things and all the hands-on experiences that the kids love. And so in science, we started off learning about how to use different scientific tools such as scales and figuring out how to find the volume of something, and so they got a kick out of that, going and doing that. And then we moved into our magnetic unit where they got to create a big project. So they got to create a car and got to move the car using magnetic pull or push. I let them use whichever one they wanted. And then they got to demonstrate it in front of the class how well they did, and they kind of self-critiqued themselves about how well they thought they did. And then they had peer reviews who also reviewed how well they did, and they got to create it and be as creative as they could. And we had parents bring in all their cardboard and pipe cleaners and all the things that they could think of to bring in to be able to build their cars, and the kids really had a blast doing that. Then we moved on to our next science unit, which was Earth systems and how the Earth changes over time. And so we dove into the rock cycle and we talked about identifying different types of rocks, and they absolutely loved it. It didn't stop in the classroom. It kept going to the recess, and they kept coming to me, Miss White, what kind of rock is this? And then we talk about it and we'd be like, okay, well, what properties do igneous rocks have, or what type of properties do metamorphic rocks have? And so it is cool to watch them extend it outside the classroom as well. And we also did the rock cycle. We used starbursts, and we went through the rock cycle using starbursts. They gotta cut up the rocks to show the sediment, build it together to build the sedimentary rock. And then they did heat and pressure to make the metamorphic rock. And then I brought jar where I had melted the starburst, and they could see what an igneous rock would look like. And some of the kids took their rock home with them so that they could melt it and see the igneous rock form. So it's fun to see them get excited and to work in groups and to be able to do those things. And these last couple of pictures off to the right are some things we did for social studies. We made some cave paintings because we talked about our first peoples in North America, and so they got to create their own cave paintings that we're putting up and decorating our classroom that they to see. So I get to do a lot of fun and exciting things with the students every day, and I love it.
Yes, any questions or anything like that?
How many 4th graders are there? How many computers are you looking for?
We have 78 4th graders, so we have 26 computers.
Great job. Thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Great.
The next piece we have is assessment and data. Just touch on the check-ins. She touched briefly about that, but, on our piece, as we're talking about the check-ins, I met with the teachers, and with all the teachers to go over their individual standards, and where each of their children are based on the standards and how their class ranks based on the state. And we're starting to break down each of the standards and where they should start reteaching, how to go about that. The high school is not quite done with all their testing. They've just finished bits and pieces of it. And they're starting to finish up this coming week. So after all of it is done, then we'll have some data for you all, to share with you. The next piece is the MTSS and AIG. We just started making some adjustments to our tier 2 and tier 3. We have our tier 3 kids rocking and rolling. We're starting to put our tier 2 kids. We had started meeting with all of our tier 2 kids as well to help our teachers' schedules out a little bit. But as the testing evolves and as our tier 3 starts to grow just a little bit, we're starting to put our tier 2 kids back into the classroom, so that those teachers can start doing the differentiating in the classroom. When you take a look at our AIG numbers, right now we have 151 AIG students. So that helped to build a little bit more of our tier 2 schedule with our teacher, because Ms. Wilson is taking on a little more of that focus. So she's starting to see that number grow. So she's going to be moving into the classroom and doing a little more pull out and push in. So her schedule's going to look a little bit different with that. So that's why we're putting some of the tier 2 kids back in the classroom as well, so that she can start seeing some more of those AIG kids. 12 of those are seniors. But if you look at our nurturing kids, we have approximately 40 kids who have not been identified yet for K3. So we're starting to, well, we are seeing, but we're starting to add to those numbers so that they will become identified as we start to change our plan. So some of you may be asked to sit on that committee this year as we start developing and changing that plan for the upcoming years to go to DPI. And then we move on to community, culture, and climate.
So just a brief about our athletics. So all the rosters are set for our varsity girls and boys basketball, JV boys, and then both middle school teams, along with the varsity and middle school cheer. Cheerleading is going great. I can't wait for you guys to see the team. Homecoming is coming up next Friday, the 22nd, and so they're gonna get to have their first opportunity to cheer at those games. And so they're super excited. They put a lot of work into it and a lot of practice, so they're excited. Our homecoming is next Friday, and we're gonna have a homecoming parade. It's gonna start at the K8 campus at 8:30 and then move to the high school campus at 9. And then after the parade, we're gonna have a pep rally and homecoming voting. So it's kind of exciting to have our first homecoming at the new campus. So we're trying to do it up big and right for the kids, to really get a lot of excitement going. And then our elementary and middle school homecoming is gonna be Thursday, December the 12th. And then there will be a homecoming dance that Friday the 13th. Now I'm gonna turn the attendance recommendations over to Mr. Kane. To briefly say about your.
All right, so new to the group here, we decided that attendance should be a really strong focus for the year. So we started out for Q1 by recognizing those students that were at school every day, on time, didn't leave early. And it came out to, was it 84 students out of our 702 kids at the K8 campus had perfect attendance. So we called them up by grade level each morning, so they, got to hear their name over the announcement. I got a nice certificate, ice cream pass. And it's gonna be something that we build on each quarter. And we're gonna add some competition in as well for attendance. So to give those kids that don't get a chance to, excel and be in the spotlight, get them in the spotlight. So I'm excited about it. We know that attendance correlates strongly to achievement. So we're gonna work on that, get the kids here.
So we had the 8 honor roll recognition at the high school on the 25th of October. And we were celebrating our students who received the honor roll with sweet treats. And they really seemed to enjoy that. Our health and safety, we did have our first lockdown drill at the high school on November the 6th. It went very well. We had practice with our staff in October to prepare for that. So we were very pleased with the amount of time that it took. It was like a little over 7 minutes for us to complete the total drill, to cover the entire building to make sure everything was secure. So that was a success for us. Both campuses participated in Red Ribbon Week for bully awareness with a spirit week and daily inspirational announcements.
Before and after care, staff participated in a response to emergencies training led by Ms. Barakin and our nurse Corbett. That takes us to our calendar for the month of November, and if you guys look, we have lots of stuff going on. Our guitar concert is this Thursday at 7. Then the 15th is gonna be Gobble Till You Wobble Dance at the K-8 campus. Then we have our progress reports coming out. We have a half-day dismissal on the 22nd, which is the high school homecoming, followed by our homecoming game that night. And then it is our Thanksgiving break. And then we hit the road running to that last stretch before winter break, which involves a lot of reviews and teacher made exams and of course testing. So we're really excited about what's coming up in the next month and a half.
What's going on?
And that's it for the principal report.
Good job, thank you. Okay, that takes us to old business. So September 2024, Board of Directors minutes. Remember, we had correct, so we just need to vote. So did everyone have a chance to review those actual September 2024? I have a motion to approve those. Okay, Ms. Merle, second, Ms. Gould, all in favor? Thank you. Safety plan, Ms. Rakin.
That would be taken. We are doing lots of safety activity. Plenty of stuff. It's it's a new system.
The 25-26 academic calendar, we had some changes to that. Has everyone been able to review the calendar? Changes are in there. Any questions? Additional updates? You ready to take a vote? I have a motion to approve the 25-26 academic calendar. Ms. Russell, second, Ms. Merle, all in favor? Thank you. 2026 charter renewal, Ms. Rakin.
So we're just gonna keep this on the agenda every month. So we're gonna be doing all the things, like I said, between now and the next year and a half. So, our piece that's due at the end of this month is our self-study. And our leadership team, our K-12 leadership team has been really instrumental in filling that out. So again, there are some sections on there in regards to goal setting. So I implore you, to think about where you're gonna see us in 5 years. There are some that are specific to financial goals, academic goals, operational goals. But then there are some that we can kind of create on our own as well, so. Just kind of put that in the back of your mind. If you think of something, shoot it my way. I may reach out to, the chair folks in the different committees just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page, in regards to goal setting. But, that's a big document that we've been working on. Basically, it's, an overview, like a summary of our school and what we're using for curriculum and all of those things. So it's the charter school, office charter schools is to kind of see us in a nutshell, and then they'll start breaking it out, and then we'll start, looking at doing like scheduling interviews and things like that. And you guys will be an instrumental part to that, because they'll have several different interviewing sessions set up. And so once we've gained more guidance, then I will share that with you guys too, so that we're best prepared, for kind of what that looks like. And, they said typically that they'll start those potentially in the spring sometime. So I'm just gonna keep that on the agenda every month, so I can just give you updates as I get them.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, committee updates, governance?
No further updates right now.
Finance, I know Ms. Lane isn't here, Mr. Young, any no updates? Okay. Academic, Lyndon, you have anything? So, Chad, or Mr. I'm sorry, long range planning.
Yeah, so just got 2 items I just wanted to give everyone up to speed on. So our new building, behind the classroom wing. So we're still continuing to go through the permitting process. Hopefully we'll get that permitted pretty soon. And the warranty, kind of hard to believe that we're already 12 months into the new building. So I'm gonna have a preliminary walkthrough with Mr. Whittington this coming Thursday, and then we'll gather some items together, and then we'll do a full-blown walkthrough with the contractor.
It's mid-December. What's our actual date?
I believe it was December 15th. Yes. Yep,
It's hard to believe.
already here. So I'll keep everybody informed on the process and the items.
Okay. Let us know if you need anything or second set of eyes on stuff or anything
Absolutely.
like that. Thank you. Okay, we have no new business. We do not have closed session this evening. Do we have anything else for the meeting this evening? Okay, our next meeting, our next public meeting will be January 14th, 2024. Do I have a or 25, yes. Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Yes, you're right. It's January 2025. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Young, second, Mr. Russell, all in favor? So regarding school board of directors meeting, it has adjourned.